All right, good morning and welcome to Iyun Benzion, Daf Ted Zayin in Yevamos, number 16. We have a special honor of Rabbi Shmuel Wittow, Rosh Kol here, saying Dvar Torah, a Chiddush, or
This will be a Chiddush.
his own Chiddush.
No, it's not my own Chiddush. I'm going to just say over Rabbi Chanan Wasserman.
Rabbi Chanan Wasserman, okay, you have to attribute it to Rabbi Chanan Wasserman.
Yeah, okay.
If you like Rabbi Chanan Wasserman, like this video.
Just listen, I was very close to Simcha Wasserman, Rabbi Chanan's son. He was a tremendous tzaddik. He was nifter maybe 25 years ago. And
Well, tell him who your uncle is, right?
so my uncle Asa Wittow used to drive Rav Scheinberg for 50 years. So people that knew Chaim Pinchas Scheinberg, the one that used to wear so many tzitzis, so my uncle drove Rav Scheinberg for 50 years. And actually,
You know who his driver was after I think your uncle passed away.
no, he never had a driver after my
Never?
uncle. No.
Sandy Sofer. You know
No,
Sandy Sofer?
Sandy Sofer took care of him, but he wasn't his driver. My uncle drove
He
it.
said Sandy told me. Sandy's my brother-in-law. He married to my wife's sister. He used to drive you to
Only when
America.
my uncle, right? Then when in America,
Oh, in
my
America.
uncle didn't go to America.
So he went to America.
My uncle did go for they gave him some kind of award, and my uncle did. But in Eretz Yisrael, and for 50 years, no one ever drove the Rosh Hashiva except for my uncle. Unless for some reason my uncle was sick or something. Anyway, first of all, we have a machlokas over here, a very, very tremendous machlokas. Tsaras erva, or the erva itself, according to Beis Shammai, tsaras bito is mutter, and according to Beis Hillel, according to Beis Hillel, tsaras bito is mutter, and according to Beis Shammai, let's start again. According to Beis Hillel, the erva putters the entire ad sof kol olam, so therefore you could be she's mutter to the shuk, and according to Beis Shammai, there's a nefila over here, and you have to do yibum. So according to Beis Shammai, if you're miyabim tzoras habas, the vlad is a mamzer. According to Beis Hillel, the vlad is a mamzer. And according to Beis Shammai, it's completely mutter because this is the mitzvah of yibum. The Torah only puttered the erva itself, bito, but the tzora is mutter. So, and according to Beis Hillel, there's also a problem according to Beis Hillel because Tzoras Bito needs chalitza according to Beis Shammai. So if you don't do chalitza, she's a Yevamos l'shuk.
Mm-hmm.
So Tosfos asked a question over here. So if she's a Yevamos l'shuk, this is the first Tosfos has Zayin Amud Aleph. He asks, "V'im tomer l'shmuel de misafka le ba'isha rabba ein kedushin tovsin b'Yevamos l'shuk im kein pshita de kshera de miyad shekitsha pakalek zika." We have a cloud. Let's say you have, I'll try and do this without diagrams because you're a tremendous Maggid Shir over here doesn't use diagrams. So let's try it without diagrams. Right. So you have a Yevamos l'shuk. That means that Ruvain and Shimon are brothers, and Ruvain was married to Leah, and Shimon died. So Leah now is a Yevama. So Shimon has the mitzvah of Yibum. But if somebody else marries Leah, so a Yevamos l'shuk is only a lav. So the Kedushin, when he's Mekadesh an Isalav, we hold the Kedushin are Tosim V'chavi Lavim, so the Zika goes away. No more Zika. So asks Tosfos, what's the problem over here? Because the Gemara says that Yevamos l'shuk is a problem according to Beis Shammai, because this woman, this Tzoras Bito, needs Chalitza. So he asks, so Tosfos asks a tremendous question over here. In came pshita de kshera, because as soon as somebody else marries the Yevamos l'shuk, there's no more zika. Miyad paka la zika. Kedomrim of shomeres yavam. We have another Gemara that if you have a shomeres yavam, now this is a slightly more complex. It's a very easy case. Ruvain and Shimon are brothers, and Ruvain is married to Leah. Ruvain dies, and Leah has a sister Rachel. So if Shimon marries Rachel, so now he can't do yibum anymore, because it's achos ishto. So as soon as Shimon does kedushin to Rachel, the zika of Leah is paka. She kedusha mafkin. So what's the problem of a Yevamos l'shuk according to Beis Shammai? The Gemara says according to Beis Shammai there's a problem that Beis Hillel holds you don't need anything, so they go marry the Tzoras Bito. So according to Beis Hillel, there's a problem. Because according to Beis Shammai, it's a Yevama Lashuk. She needs chalitza. And as soon as somebody marries her, what's the problem? There's no problem. There's no Vlad Pagum over here. Because as soon as somebody marries her, it's mafkia the Zika. Listen to what Tosos says. You're not going to believe what Tosos says. V'yesh lomar, the lo dami. Over there, to Hasam, ein shum tekana, lasos shicha. Over there by Achos Isha, you can't kill Rachel. So there's nothing you can do. So it's mafgia the Zika. Avo hayavama shniskad shalashuk. Ef shalatakin aydei gerushin. Shetisyabim achar kach. So what does it mean? Reuven, now let's think about what Tosas is saying. When we learn the Iyun, we have to think about what we're saying. What we're saying is that Reuven and Shimon, Reuven died. So Leah is the Yavam Lashuk. So Shmerel, Moshe David, comes and marries Leah. So right now she's no more Zika. But if they do Gerushin, she goes back to being a Yavama. How could she go back to being a Yavama? Once he was married to her, the Zika went away. Rabbi Chanan says that there's a shemetz, there's a little bit of Zika, and this is Vadi Tosas talking about Deraisa. You could say Zika is Derabanan, but the Hamshach of Tosas, you'll see it's clear we're talking about Deraisa. So this means an unbelievable thing. This means that you have Ruvain died. So Leah's a Yavam Lashuk. So Moshe David comes and marries Leah. So then we say you have to be Magarsha. So she goes back to being a Yavama. So that means, if you would think about what we're really saying, that even when Moshe David marries Leah, there's really three people sleeping. There's another husband over here. Because even the Zika doesn't go away completely. Because if it went away completely, it couldn't come back. We're talking about a derisive level. So what Rabbi Chanan says over here is a concept that's almost inconceivable. But he says that at the same time that Moshe David marries Leah, she's Yavam Lashuk, the Kedushin is Tofis, the Zika doesn't go away. The Zika is there, but it's like sleeping. It's like and when he gives her, when he's Megarisher, she goes back to being a Yavam again. So that means that really, if you would think about it, it's like when Moshe David has relationships with Leah, Shimon, or Reuven, the Ashes Ames is still there, because what's the Zika? The Zika is the Kedushin, that's the whole Yisod of Yevamos. When Reuven marries Leah and then Reuven dies, Reuven is still married to Leah in a sense, because the Yavam doesn't have to do Kedushin, he just does Bia, which is the Gemar of the Kinyan. So the Kinyan of the May still exists. So what we're really saying is Reuven is still married to Leah, and even though Moshe David marries Leah, she's Yavam Lashuk, it's only a lav, the Kedushin are Tofis, but we don't say, bingo, she's completely gone. There's no more. The pashas you would say on a derisive level, if the kedushin can be chalik. Tosas says in his kasha pshita that she's no longer a yavama. The zika's gone.
That's
but
a law.
What's muchrak from Tosas, it says in Rabbi Chanan, is the zika is not gone. It's ki'ilu that he's married derisa, and at the same time when he'll be megarsher, she'll go back to being Ashes Ruvain. So that means that this is a concept that is like a stira to everything you ever learned in Ksuvas. Everything you ever learned in Chayvi Krisis, there's no Kedushin. Chayvi Lavin, Kedushin is Chal. But here it says in Tosas, it says in Rabbi Chanan, this is one of the biggest Kedushin in the entire Masechta of Yevamos, that even though when he marries her, the Kedushin is Chal, but there's still Ki'ilu, she's still married to Ruvain, and so when he gives her a divorce, so she goes back to being Ruvain's Yavama and there's Zika. So that means on a derisive level, she's an Ashes Ish and there's still Zika. So you think about that concept, that's the Kiddush of Rabbi Chanan.
Question about that. I mean, you're saying, we know Yibam is a mitzvah of Bia, right? Yibam, Maimer is only Rabban, and the whole mitzvah is Bia. So when she has Zika, and someone else does Kiddushin, right? Yivam Lashuk, right? The Kiddushin has nothing to do with the Yibam. Kiddushin is not related to Yibam.
No, we don't talk about Kiddushin.
Why does it assume that it breaks the Zika? Why when he's Mekadesh,
it has to. Otherwise the Kiddushin can't be Chal. A Kiddushin can't be Chal an Ashes Ish. Comment that there's Zika, she's an Ashes Ish. She's married to Reuven, she's an Ashes Ish of Reuven.
Men can have two wives, no?
No.
Men can have
one man can't marry two men can't marry one woman. This is one woman, she's married to two men.
Right.
This is Leah. Leah's married to Reuven and to Moshe David. You have to make diagrams, my dear friend. Two men. She's married to her dead husband, and she's married to Moshe David. That can't be. I'd comment
So you
that
have
she,
to
that's what
figure out
Tosa says.
exactly, here.
It's pshita that the Zika has to be paka. Tosa's answer is it's not paka. What's the pshat? What is the pshat? So if it would be durabanan, it's durabanan, but
So we have
Tosa
to
says
figure out exactly what the nature of the Zika is. Zika is not different than Kedushin, obviously.
So-
There's two things, there's Zika and Kedushin.
Zika is the whole Masechta Yevamos.
One
Okay?
point is that the Gemara did say, this is the second answer of those, he did
Yeah.
say that Lo Siya Ish Lameish Achutza Lish Zar, Lo Siya, even though normally we
There's
all
no
like
Vaya.
Kedushin Tosin Chayve Lavin, but Yevamos
Right,
Lashuk,
okay.
that's one of the answers the Gemara is saying on Daf Gimel.
Right,
according to
that's
Shammai.
a second tier.
So that's the second teretz. So according to, he's saying in the first teretz of Tosfos, very interesting. All right.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Isn't it?
This is very.
It's unbelievable. This is probably the biggest chiddush, one of the biggest chiddushim that Rabbi
have fun
Chanan says
with
in the
this.
entire Masechta.
I want to tell you right with though. Last time you came on, you talked about something, the Sarah, whether the Sarah Sabas, what's the gedder of the Sarah Sabas? She
Yeah.
becomes. Is it
New heir of,
Aisha's
the other-
actual mitzvah, or she becomes bito? She becomes
like
a
a bito,
bito.
yeah.
So based on what you were saying, you brought it up last time. I was able to, in some of the other shiurim that you weren't part of, I was able to declare a big machlokus between Rava and Rav Asya, and a fundamental machlokus, Rava's shita, and how Eishasach makom mitzvah, Eishasach shalom mitzvah is the pshat. There's makom mitzvah, shalom makom mitzvah, or is the pshat that yibum Eishasach is always asura. But it matters. The essay is it always has kares. That was based on Rava. He says that Saras Ma'anis is mutter. Whatever. It's a whole discussion. But it was based on something Wittow said. So it's all.
Well, that was Rav Chaim. That wasn't me. That was Rav Chaim.
all
That's
right.
a famous Rav Chaim on Daf Tes over there. So this is Rav Chanan, and this is. I hope it was clear what I said, but it's like what we're saying is this woman is in some sense married still to dead Ruvain, and but even though she's still in some sense on a derisidic level married to Ruvain, Moshe David can marry her, and the kedushin is chal, and then when Moshe David gives her a get, she goes back to being Zekuka Deraisa Zika. It's like
We have to figure out the nature of Zika. All
that's right. That's right. That's the whole Masechta Yevamos Zika. That's right. That's right. What's our appetite? We're going. Okay.
Very good.
Call
Thank
two.
you.
Call two.
All right. Bye.